Hi, Stan with 3D PT. So earlier I did a video on casting crayons, and I've been experimenting lately with doing swirly rainbow crayons. So I did a good batch last night, so I'm going to film how I did that. Now, something I noticed with mold material, this is Armadillo and PLA. These two have been my best performing molds. The one I did with PETG, for some reason, no matter how much I treat the mold or how much I spray on it, how much vegetable oil I spray, the some of the wax just keeps sticking. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm not going to be using the torch as much to melt the wax. An idea my dad gave me was take an iron, flip it upside down, put some tinfoil over it to protect it. This actually works a lot better because the temperature you can control a lot better, and something I noticed is if you melt some of this too hot, it'll actually start separating. So I think some of the wax in these molds has actually separated in terms of the pigment and coloring. So that could produce a very kind of choppy wax that likes to stick to everything, or it doesn't harden very well. So I'm going to cast some more crayons. I'm going to do some just plain colored. And for this mold, this works great for doing wacky crayons. So I'm going to show you how to cast some of these wacky crayons using this PLA mold. So earlier I taped up the mold and sprayed the inside with some vegetable spray. That's worked really well as a release agent. Same thing with the PLA molds here. For the solid ones, I put a core crayon on the inside, so I just break off a little bit off the end. And I use that to provide a solid core for it to stabilize around. And also, if it's going to contract, it's going to contract around the core and not the outside of the mold. So using this iron rig, you could tell that already it's done a really good job, and the wax is really clean and not bubbly, which is what you want. You want it to be fluid but not bubbly or separating. So try and do this with one hand. So I'll start with red. Just kind of find a good edge to pour on. Make sure to mix it up. About halfway, 3/4 full. And drop in your core. Do it point up. And it's okay if it overflows a little bit. You actually want that. That way, anything that overflows will actually go to the top. And you can see already how it's kind of forming around the core. The other reason I'm going to put it on an angle. That way, if anything tries to get through, it's going to go this way into this part of the seam of the mold. You can see how it's already contracted a little bit. So, a little bit more. And yeah, you want to leave a dam to catch any wax that goes out. So as the wax cools, it's going to contract. And the reason I'm doing it over a core is, one, to provide more strength, but also it contracts around it, so it's actually contracting less. So I'm going to go through, do blue, and I think I've got enough wax to do a couple yellow crayons. So to start doing the wacky molds, set them up at an angle like this. I'm just going to carefully pour in about that much, about that. And you only want to fill it about halfway, and you could tilt it back. Just let it cool like that for a minute. And in a minute I'm going to pour the blue, and I'm going to pour also the blue over here. And this way when they come together you can make a red and blue crayon. Actually I could probably, let's just do a 2-colored. And you can kind of play around, get a nice stable one like that. And then to do the second crayon, let's do blue right now. Go ahead and pour some blue here. And since we want them both close together at the tip, we could do that. And just kind of spread it out, let it cool. And eventually I'll probably put a tertiary color like black or red, or maybe even just cream in the center. But you can see you let the wax cool over certain layers and it'll kind of make a spoon shape. So when you pour in the middle layer, it'll go right in between. You can see it's red one here, which is solid color, is pretty much contracted already, so it'll continue to shrink a little bit, but yeah. So I'll go ahead and pour blue and probably do a couple yellows. So I've poured the first few molds, so I'm going to do blue, red, and yellow, blue, and this one's yellow, orange. I'm a little short on black crayons, so I'm just going to cast a set of regular black crayons in this. So what I'm going to do next is fold it up, seal it up, and I think I'll just do, I think I have a little more blue than red, so I'll seal it up with blue, and literally just pour it in and let it harden between the two layers. And with the black I'll do the same thing that I did over here, and just drop in a core, do it pointed in up, and then just pour some black ones, and this one will have a couple yellow spots. Now always do this in a place you don't mind getting dirty. I accidentally spilled some orange, and this is of course, you know, lovely shag carpet from 70s. Wear long pants and closed-toed shoes when you do this. Yeah, most of this wax I'm probably gonna have to toss. And I'm doing it from all these jumbo crayons. If you want to scale down the mold, I'm going to try that next and make a flexible, probably cheetah flex mold, maybe about 3/4 size. So let me get this set up and we can do the next one. So finished pouring in all the remaining colors. So I tried to do as even as possible red and black, or red and blue, and these two to try and make it a two-tone colored one. This one's probably going to, so I poured red and blue into these two to try and get a two-toned crayon. This one's going to be kind of a mix, and the last two are going to be black. And what I did to really kind of help smooth them out was just flamed them a little bit across the top just to help melt it all in. But you can see in the center one already how it's kind of contracting and sinking in. So part of it is just these molds are so big for crayons that the contraction rate's going to definitely bring it in. Not too worried about that one. The black ones are going to do okay. These should do okay too since they were already pretty much hardened. Poured a little too much yellow wax, so it's going to harden. I'll scrape this off and recycle it. And when you do this, I just have a set of cups in each color. That way I could always come back and just restart them. as well as just getting my crayons ready. So I'm going to come back in about an hour and pop the molds on these. And always unplug your hot iron when you're done. So, alright, so this is the crazy mold I started earlier. Took off the tape off the side, and so you can see the seam here. So, trick with this is you have to kind of pry a little bit. Try and do this one-handed. And let's see here. Yes. So if you look here, you can kind of see where it took like 2 pours to get this in. You can see a little bit of a seam in the crayon. But these wacky ones, let's see here. A little bit of trim here. Seems like the molds, PLA molds, warp a little bit on the inside because I've seen some that have a bit of a curve here. And this one just needs a little bit of a trim, but yeah, you can make dual colored crayons as well with this. So I'm going to go back, make some more just plain colored, and maybe a few more dual or wacky crayons. So it looks like probably TPU and this different ones like Armadillo or Cheetah Flex make the best molds for casting with wax. PLA is okay, but I'm actually not using this for fulls. But I've had some issues with this mold. I think partly just because there's not a lot of space in between, so wax has gotten in between flows, and also this one's probably got a little gouge right here. So if you have a choice, use TPU to make a mold. PLA is okay for this, but not the best. You could use either of these for making sidewalk chalk, which I have another video of, but yeah, probably TPU is the best material for mold making. And if you have like an electric hot plate, that would probably be best. But Dad gave me the idea to improvise with this. So this is nice just because it doesn't torch the wax. You can see how it's nice and creamy. You want that consistency. If it starts bubbling, then you would need to take it off and pour. So I'll have these posted. These are I'm gonna call them DEAR, Disgraphia.